So apparently this is the climax of Gojo versus Sukuna, and the winner is decided in this chapter. Now I don't know if that is necessarily what's happening here, but I guess it's up for you to decide. So coming off of the previous chapter, we saw Mahoraga take Gojo's arm off, but Gojo was still able to fight on, firing off this maximum output blue. And it wound up going through the building that they were fighting in to some random location in the city, taking Agito with it, the other Shikigami that Sukuna had summoned, and completely destroys it. Then at the end of the chapter, we saw Gojo's arm beginning to heal, from him using reverse curse technique. And that takes us to the beginning of this chapter that starts with Gojo completely regrowing his right hand as Agito gets totally crushed in the background. The narrator explains that Gojo's intensity has raised due to the 2 black flashes, and the king of the curses, Ryomen Sukuna, is nervous for the first time in 1,000 years. So Gojo's arm is back, as we knew that it was going to be. Agito confirmed dead here, but also confirming that Gojo has done 2 black flashes so far, meaning that random punch that he landed on Agito in the previous chapter, that was a black flash. We were talking about that, but it wasn't like noted or highlighted or had any text attributed to it in the previous chapter, so I wasn't sure if that's like what was happening, but it was just Gege showing, not telling, which is interesting. But it just wasn't as powerful as the first black flash that he hit Sukuna with, and I assume it has something to do with Gojo fatiguing, unless Agito was able to just tank it that much better than Gojo somehow. But speaking of that, Gojo hits a 3rd black flash on Mahoraga and then reappears in front of Sukuna, who looks super nervous. Sukuna tries to punch, but Gojo blocks it and throws him towards Mahoraga and hits the 4th black flash. Mahoraga blocks the black flash from hitting Sukuna but gets thrown away. So yeah, Mahoraga getting hit again. Doesn't seem like it's doing that much. And then he's blocking a 4th black flash from Gojo here from hitting Sukuna, who he has like his arms in front of. So I thought the black flashes might have been a viable exit strategy for Gojo here, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Like, he is for sure going to have to use purple against him, which was hinted at for a while now, but it was also straight up said at the end of the previous chapter that 41 seconds from now, for the 2nd time, Gojo's Hollow Purple will cut through Shinjuku. And we're actually going to see Gojo set that up now, because it says that he begins to chant for his next attack, and Sukuna judges that it might be Curse Technique Red and plans to have Mahoraga tank it and make him adapt to Red just to be reassured. So yeah, at this point, Mahoraga is adapted to Blue, but he hasn't adapted to Red yet. And there's also a chance that Gojo can produce a Red so powerful that it can just take out Mahoraga in one shot, but Sukuna's willing to take that gamble with him here. But instead of Gojo firing off the red at Mahoraga, he fires it upwards. And sensing that something is wrong, Sukuna screams for Mahoraga to act quickly. So this isn't the first time that Gojo has manipulated the red and like using it in different directions. And last time it straight up hit Sukuna in the back. And besides purple, this is like Gojo's last card to use. So that's also why Sukuna is super diligent in order to take it down here. And Mahoraga chases after red, but ahead of it, the blue that crushed Agito was still left. And Mahoraga is ordered not to let red clash with blue and demolish blue with its adaptation. So yeah, it's a pretty cool sequence. The blue that Gojo shot at Agito that crushed him, instead of just flying off into the distance, it just stayed stationary at the location in the city where it shot out of the building, and it's kind of just this floating sphere. It looks like a planet. Pretty sure that's intentional. And Gojo was doing the same thing with the red. He fired it off, but was able to keep it as like a floating, tangible projectile. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Mecha Japan. Mecha Japan is an online store that sells products from major Japanese licenses, such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, and more. Mecha Japan has more than 12,000 high quality products from Japan. The prices are great, and the customer service team is very responsive and always happy to answer you in English. It also has worldwide shipping so that you'll be able to get those rare or very rare Japanese products that you can only find available on mechajapan.com. So I picked up a few things from Mecha Japan. I mean, how could I not? I got this Luffy Taro variable action heroes figure, this pop-up parade Sukuna, these really cool One Piece Logbox Rebirth Country Edition figures, a Cursed Spirits version Yuji, and last but not least, the big boy Figure Arts Zero Tanjiro. I absolutely love everything I got from Mecha Japan. Everything is 100% authentic, amazing quality, And it just makes me so happy that I got these. I love collecting stuff like this. So guys, I'll have the link in the description, but also for the next 2 weeks only, if you use my code, you're going to be able to get $10 off of all orders $80 or more. And that's going to be one time per person. So again, use my code for the next 2 weeks, and that's going to be $10 off all orders $80 or more. Again, link in the description. Thanks, guys. And Sukuna wants Mahoraga to destroy the blue orb because, like we said, he's already adapted to it. So he could just, I don't know, slash it or do whatever and just destroy it, but he wouldn't be able to do that with the red. So they're trying to destroy it because I'm pretty sure Sukuna knows that Gojo can merge these together and make purple because that's how it's created. Amplified curse technique of Limitless, which is blue, and then the reverse application of it, which is red. And you fuse those two together and you get purple, which is like this big imaginary nuke. But just before Mahoraga tries to destroy blue, Gojo appears in between and punches off Mahoraga. Sukuna then tries to stimulate red and make it explode with piercing blood before it clashes with blue. So Sukuna's going to fire off his quote-unquote piercing blood, but it's actually like piercing water because he's using the ability of the Max Elephant from the 10 Shadows, but he's using the same fundamental that piercing blood users do with their hands together. And he's going to fire that off at Gojo's red to try to make it explode so that it can't fuse with blue. And Gojo also hits Sukuna, but he tells Gojo that he was late because piercing blood was already launched. But Gojo calmly begins his chant, which enhances blue in a short period, and due to this, Sukuna's attack doesn't affect blue at all. So that's another 4D chest move from Gojo here. He's using chants again, which we saw him use in the previous chapter, as well as what Orihime did in the beginning to enhance his original purple attack. But he's used some kind of chants here that enhanced blue, and it's not being destroyed by that piercing water that Sukuna shot at it, but also just making it stronger for the fusion that's about to take place. Gojo begins the chant for Hollow Purple, and we see Yuta back at the base apologizing to Kusakabe that if a hindrance like him was at the battlefield, then Gojo wouldn't have been able to pull it off. Not really sure why it cuts to Okotsu saying this. It's like he's randomly just putting himself down after us seeing like this epic battle sequence happening. I'm just confused by this. But anyway, blue and red merges as Gojo says Hollow Technique Purple, and Gojo blasts everyone, including himself, with Hollow Purple. And we could see Mahoraga's wheel getting destroyed in 2 panels. We see the aftermath of the blast, and the part of the city is destroyed, and Sukuna is ragged and torn apart. He's even missing his left hand. So wow, this is crazy. Gojo just launches off Hollow Purple, which is, like I said before, this nuke of a imaginary mass. Like, it just cuts through reality like an eraser tool or something. But in this sequence, Gojo is like exploding it. Before we've seen him launch it, the way that he's launched like red and blue. And even Gojo himself is in ground zero for this explosion. Like, apparently he's taking it as well. And Mahoraga is being killed. So he's done. Like, we see his wheel getting destroyed. So this was like Gojo's, best opportunity to take him down the whole time was, using one big attack. And we all assumed it was going to have to be purple at this point, and it was. And even Sukuna is devastated. He's missing his left hand, which I assume he still has enough ability to reverse curse technique heal this. But aside from him, Gojo is still alive and well. And though the purple hit him too, since it was made up from his own cursed energy, it didn't affect him that much. Kusakabe points out that Sukuna, now without Mahoraga and slow healing, won't be able to use domain expansion, so Gojo wins the battle of the strongest. And that's where the chapter ends. So I don't really think this was the climax of the fight, unless they're just going to stop fighting here. I for sure thought that somebody was going to be dead or incapacitated, but not even that. They're both just standing there like they have been at the end of multiple rounds of this fight. So I'm not really sure why this is indicating that Gojo is the winner of the battle, the strongest. Yeah, he took down Agito and Mahoraga, but like, Sukuna's still standing. That's all I'm saying. So I don't think the fight is over, right? It has to continue in the next chapter, unless this is Gege ending it, and I don't know if Sukuna is going to accept defeat, but that would just be too easy. So I guess something's going to happen that stops the fight completely and they both go their separate ways, meaning that we get our cake and eat it too. Like, Gojo survives, and we still got to see his fight against Sukuna without him having to sacrifice himself. I'm confused by this, but you know, we'll talk about this more once the chapter comes out and I'm able to get that review. It should be like Thursday morning, I think. But let me know what you think about these spoilers, guys, in the comments. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.